In Chapter 5, we discuss drafting and signing the mediation agreement. Let us assume that you are successful in helping the parties reach settlement on their disputes, whether through a partial or full settlement. The hard work is done, and now comes the time to prepare your settlement agreement for the parties' review and signatures. Since it's an online mediation, you will of course be typing up the mediation agreement. You should have your mediation agreement template on your computer so that you can be working on it during the mediation session. As you see the parties beginning to come into agreement on certain issues, you can start typing up the agreement into your draft template. Your draft may evolve over the mediation session, but your goal by the end of the mediation should be to have a completed first draft for the parties to review. This suggested practice of preparing the mediation agreement in real time during the actual mediation session is not the only way to memorialize the parties' agreement on paper. Different ways do exist, and you should implement the process that you are most comfortable with. For example, perhaps you want to leave the parties in their caucus rooms while you remain in the main session and prepare the agreement, and then share the file, the PDF draft of the agreement, in each caucus room separately through the chat feature. Or perhaps you prepare the document alone and then bring all parties out of their caucus rooms into the main session so they can review and approve your prepared document one time through screen share. It may prove easiest to just email the parties a confidential rough draft of the agreement for their individual review and comment. But whatever process you decide on, be sure to practice your procedures before working with your parties. After the parties agree that your drafted mediated settlement agreement correctly captures their agreement, you need to send the document to the parties to sign. Today, a plethora of ways exist for parties to sign electronically their documents, from DocuSign to Adobe Sign to Sign Now to DocHub.com. You, as a mediator, can subscribe to and utilize an e-signature service to get the parties to initial, sign, and date the documents from the convenience of their screens. You simply need to get the parties' email addresses and send them the PDF version of the agreement through your preferred e-signature service. Here's a tip. Whenever possible, encourage the parties to sign finger to screen rather than just typing in their signatures. The technology in most e-signature platforms includes security that certifies the identity of signers. That's extremely important. However, having John Doe just sign his finger on the smartphone instead of typing S/S/John Doe will still be a better way of authenticating that John Doe actually signed the document. Most e-signature platforms will send all signers a finalized version of the agreement once it's signed by everyone. Once you get your mediation agreement signed, it's finally time to end the mediation. Once all parties have signed and they've gotten a copy of the approved mediation agreement, you can congratulate everyone on reaching a resolution to their dispute, and you can move forward and finally ending this mediation. As in Chapter 4, in the case of ending a mediation due to an impasse, you can end the mediation now after a settlement agreement is reached by simply saying your goodbyes and clicking the red End Meeting to terminate the mediation session for all participants. In Chapter 6, we'll discuss ethics and security.